Picture this. It's late at night. You're sitting alone in your room, phone in your hand, the screen glowing against your face. You've sent the message, read it again, deleted it, sent it again, and now you're just waiting. Your chest feels heavier with every second. Every vibration makes your heart skip. You tell yourself she's busy, she's tired, it's nothing personal, but deep down, you already know it's not that simple. You did everything right. You listened. You showed up. You cared more than anyone else could. And yet, slowly, almost imperceptibly, her attention started to drift. The messages became shorter. The warmth faded. And suddenly, all your effort feels invisible. If you think love grows stronger the more you chase it, you're about to discover the bitter truth. Desire doesn't respond to effort. It responds to absence, to tension, to the kind of emotional gravity that only comes when you stop running after it. Tonight, I'm going to show you why the moment you stop chasing, love doesn't disappear. It either becomes stronger or it reveals the truth you were too afraid to see. Because the hardest lesson every man learns is this: the more you chase, the less control you have over the one thing you wanted most, her heart. It's late at night. The room is quiet, too quiet. The only light comes from your phone, glowing softly against your face. You've already sent the message. Now you're waiting. Every second feels heavier than the last. You tell yourself she's busy. You tell yourself not to overthink. But deep down, you already know. It's not about being busy. It's about the silence that slowly finds its way into your chest. You chased. You did it with good intentions. You weren't trying to manipulate anyone. You weren't playing games. You just wanted love. You believed effort creates connection. You believed consistency builds closeness. You believed that if you showed up enough, cared enough, stayed enough, love would grow stronger. So you gave time. You gave attention. You gave emotional access. And little by little, you moved your life to the side to make space for her. What no one ever told you is this: love doesn't survive on effort alone. Love survives on perceived value. When you started chasing, you thought you were moving closer to her. In reality, you were moving further away from yourself. Your world began to orbit around her responses, her mood, her availability. She became the center. And the moment a man abandons his center, something subtle but irreversible begins to shift inside a woman's nervous system. Not because she's cruel, not because she planned it, but because biology doesn't negotiate with intention. The human brain, especially when it comes to attraction, runs on dopamine. And dopamine isn't released through certainty. It's released through anticipation, through contrast, through the unknown. When something feels earned, the brain stays engaged. When something becomes guaranteed, the brain relaxes and desire quietly fades. You mistook her distance as a signal to give more. So you did. You tried harder. You explained yourself. You reassured her. You filled every emotional gap with more words, more availability, more effort. And that's where it broke. Replies started coming slower. Questions stopped being asked. The energy changed. You felt it. You always feel it. But instead of stepping back, you leaned in. You believed love could be fixed with intensity. But love doesn't respond to pressure. Love suffocates under it. You crossed boundaries you once respected. You started negotiating your needs. You asked for reassurance instead of offering presence. And without a single argument, without a single accusation, her subconscious received a message you never meant to send. He needs me more than he needs himself. And when that happens, attraction doesn't explode. It erodes. Here's the part most men don't hear. She didn't wake up one morning and decide to lose interest. She didn't consciously pull away. She simply responded to a shift in emotional polarity. Where there was once grounded masculinity, there was now emotional leakage. Where there was once direction, there was now reaction. And then, something changed again. You stopped chasing, not to punish, not to manipulate, but because something inside you finally got tired. You went quiet. You pulled your attention back. You remembered you had a life before waiting on replies. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. Her mind woke up. Silence is uncomfortable. Silence forces reflection. When you stopped filling the space, her brain began to fill it for you. Memories resurfaced, moments replayed. The absence created contrast. Dopamine returned, not because you disappeared, but because uncertainty re-entered the emotional equation. You weren't playing games. You simply stopped bleeding emotionally. And that's when the dynamic shifted. From her side, it felt different. When you first entered her life, you had momentum, purpose, a sense of direction that didn't depend on her validation. Your attention felt like a choice, not a requirement. Your presence felt earned. That's what drew her in. Then slowly she became the destination instead of a companion. Your happiness began depending on her responses. Your mood began mirroring her availability. And without realizing it, you handed her emotional control you never meant to give. She didn't lose attraction because you cared. She lost attraction because you collapsed inward. Women don't fall for men who disappear emotionally. They fall for men who are emotionally stable. Stability doesn't mean coldness. It means self-containment. When you stopped chasing, you didn't become distant. You became centered. You returned to yourself. And a man who is centered creates gravity. He doesn't pull, he attracts. Here's the bitter truth most people won't say out loud. Love feels stronger when you stop chasing because you regain power over your own emotional state. And power, quiet, grounded power, is the foundation of masculine presence. When you chase, you become pressure. When you stop, you become a choice. And choice is always more attractive than pressure. Sometimes she comes back, sometimes she reaches out, sometimes the dynamic resets, and sometimes nothing happens. But here's the part that matters. If she returns, it's because desire was reignited. If she doesn't, it's because the truth finally surfaced. And both outcomes are freedom. Because real love doesn't require you to abandon yourself. And anything that survives only through pursuit was never stable to begin with. The man who doesn't need love to stand is the man love naturally moves toward. Not because he's distant, not because he's manipulative, but because he's whole. When you stop chasing, you don't lose love. You either get it back, stronger and clearer, or you lose the illusion that was costing you your self-respect. And that's not loss, that's awakening. Love was never meant to cost you your self-respect. If you have to chase someone to keep them, you're already losing yourself. The moment you stop chasing, you don't become cold, you become whole. And the truth is simple, even if it hurts, the right person doesn't need to be convinced. They feel your value the moment you stop begging for it. So walk back into your life, stand in your center, let silence do what words never could, because love that's real will move toward you, and love that isn't was only Tika, teaching you who to become. Take care of yourself, brother.